All right, all right, all right. Just checking this out, making sure we're ready, guys. Another moment. Okay, we should be seeing my screen. How do I launch online? But we need to confirm that this thing is moving forward, and it looks like it is. How do I launch online? There we go, guys. All right, I'm gonna refresh this page. Give me a quick shout out. Let me know if you can see the screen. Hey, Charlie. All right, looks like you guys can. And I'm going to, yeah, there we are, we're live. Okay, great. All right, now I'm not gonna see your comments just now, but Susan can pull those things out for me. And let's switch over to the camera where we're looking at me, and then we'll go hit the recording. All right, go ahead and record.
Recording in 3, 2, 1.
All right, hey there guys, Ryan Kingsline here. We're getting this party started a little late, had some technical difficulties, which is actually one of the things that's really important for us to talk about as we start this conversation of how to create a business around our online classes, all right? One of the key things that you're gonna see in this presentation is this idea that the most important thing is keeping it simple. All right, I'm gonna tell you my story here in just a little moment, but a lot of times when we get into this expert syndrome, and we start to complicate things, and we start to have these expectations, I need this, because maybe we're an artist, or maybe we're really good at something, and we know that in order to be really good, we have to have all these tools, processes. Hopefully in this video, one of the things that you learn is how important it is for you to keep things simple. All right, let's switch over to my screen and let's talk about this question of how do I launch? Now, what I want to talk to you guys about is how do I create a business online? That's the primary thing, okay? But let's talk about who I am, just so you have a context. My name's Ryan Kingsline. I run a couple of online schools. I love sculpting. That's the thing I love to do more than anything else. I love to just sculpt and just create my art. But I don't really want to be dealing with galleries because it turns it into a business. I don't really want to be doing this free. I just love to have fun here, and I love to share my knowledge, my experiences, and I have managed in the process of doing that. You can see here, I've created almost 100 courses over the last few years. I've generated $6 million, it's actually $6.5 million in revenue in one niche, and I've helped over 10,000 people learn the skills they need to change their lives. Okay, but years ago, it wasn't like this. Years ago, I took a dream job. It was an amazing opportunity. I was so excited to be able to do this dream job that quickly turned into a nightmare. All right, maybe you're in an experience like this. Maybe you were in the past. I don't know exactly why you're here, but we're gonna start to figure that out, and I'm gonna start to give you something of value to help move you forward in this conversation, all right? But I joined this amazing company. I thought I was in love. I thought everything was going to work out fantastic. Within 30 days of joining that company, I had the nice little threat of being let go, which scared the hell out of me, right? But I could see that the problems were very vast, because one of the things that is really difficult in working for other people is you don't have control over them. You don't have control over, the processes. You have influence, but you don't have control. And that was the thing that really got me, because I had built my life around control and getting good and knowing this thing. But in my financial life, I had no control whatsoever. I was at the whim of people making decisions that seemed emotional and erratic. And yet I had to suck it up. And ultimately I decided I'm not gonna suck it up. I decided I'm out. I'm gonna find some freelance work. I'm gonna do some consulting. But then something happened. I needed money, and I needed money really fast. Right? We had no insurance, and my wife told me she's pregnant. She told me that in the middle of a phone call. I finished the phone call in a daze. I just couldn't believe it. It was like 10 minutes later. It was a really long phone call. She tells me, and I'm like, uh-huh. And it went in the back of my mind, and I was just like, I don't know what the hell I just heard. But that was one of the most amazing things to happen to me. And it really spurned this next evolution that I don't think I necessarily would have done, because I'd always saw myself as an artist. And my daughter, she didn't care what I saw myself as. She just, came out, and now it was my job to provide, my job to level up beyond just freelance, beyond just consulting, which at the end of the day wasn't going to cut it, and it wasn't going to get me the results that I got. All right, so I started my first class. I made $2,000 the day I launched. That month I generated $5,000. The next month I generated $14,000. That was 3 times more money than I had ever made in a month, essentially, take home pay. Then, throughout the years, generate $6.5 million. That's running subscription sites, that's running courses that are $698, that's running large coaching programs that are $3,000. That's running the gamut of all different products, all different types of things. Now, you might be here because you want to create a business creating online courses. That might be what brought you here, but the conversation that we are really having, the one that's really important for us as artists, is that we're here to learn how to get more control over our life and our finances, right? As creatives, as people who have a passion and a drive and a specialty, right? The primary thing that we're looking to do is to find a way to get more control over the financial side of our life. Now, in this conversation, the number one question I want to answer, and I want to provide a context for, is what's the fastest way to get started? So in order to understand that in order to have a direction there, the first thing that we look at is platforms. Platforms are the fastest way, and by platforms I mean sites that kind of have all of these tools. They're built for us course creators. All right, right off the bat, number one, you get WordPress. Okay, but I'm going to throw WordPress out the window immediately. It's powerful, it's useful, it is a setup job. All right. In the olden days, I used to use Joomla, and I'll probably talk about that, but WordPress is great. It just means you have to set things up, and if you see people using WordPress, it's usually because they set it up a couple years ago. Even 2 years ago, this was the case. But now there are platforms like Thinkific, Kajabi. Let's go back in space here. There's Udemy's been there all along. There's YouTube that's been there. Facebook. There's Gumroads now. Depending on what industry you're in, there's all these different platforms in these different ways. So it can be confusing to know which way do I go, right? And on top of that, there's all these other things like Instapages, Leadpages, ClickFunnels, Infusionsoft, ActiveCampaign, right? There's all of these things. So how do I get an understanding over what I actually need to move forward? That's what I want to provide for you in this video. And you're going to have a very clear answer at the end of this video of what it is, what's the context, and what you need to make the decision that's going to help you grow your business. All right? It seems complicated. It does. Landing pages, sales pages, email opt-in, email delivery, payment processor, Stripe, PayPal, video delivery, Amazon S3, communities and Slack and Skype and Facebook and Workplace and Facebook group. There's all of these elements, but it doesn't have to be that complicated. Now, I've been doing this for, almost a decade. I have run over 100 courses. We've helped tens of thousands of people. I've tried nearly everything under the sun. And I'm going to make that easier for you here today. All right? The 3 simple phases of running online courses: customer attraction, the customer transaction, and customer satisfaction. That's the 3 important phases that you need to be mindful of. There are other things. There's like the course planning, the production, and the positioning. But what we're really going to focus on is customer attraction, customer transaction. That's where you're trading the money and you're dealing with Stripe or PayPal or however it gets connected. And then there's the customer satisfaction, where you're delivering the goods and you are following up and you're making sure that they're happy and that you are over delivering and giving them the best experience possible. All right. These are the 3 phases. Everything that we're going to talk about today fits into these 3 phases. And then what we're going to do is we're going to look for a platform that answers as many of these questions and these problems as possible. So how does it all fit together? Customer attraction. In customer attraction, we're talking about landing pages, opt-ins, and email delivery. That's basically it. We're talking about those elements. Now, in customer transaction, we're talking about sales pages. We're talking about payment processors. Then when we get into customer satisfaction, we're talking about things like the video delivery, and we're talking about community. So these are the 3 areas that you and I need to focus on when we are deciding what platform we are going to choose. And again, our job now is to start to figure out which platform helps us do it the most. But before we get into that conversation, I want to start with this one other side note that's really important. It informs which platform we create, but it's this separate conversation of ownership. Because you could, for example, create a course entirely on Facebook groups, just within Facebook groups entirely with a PayPal link to do this. That's possible. I'm in one right now that somebody else created, and it's just run entirely in Facebook groups. So why do we need to go through this other element and start to develop or start to experience a platform and start to go through all of that work? Why would we need to do that? The key thing is ownership, okay? Ownership of, and that's what we're going to get into. Because if we're going to use Facebook groups, it's powerful. Everybody already has access to it. Everybody's already familiar with it. It's cheap for you. But the cons are, number one, you have no control over what they do. As we've seen in the news lately, people are getting worried, right? So you have no control over what these platforms like Facebook do. You also can't control things like the video quality and the experience. That's controlled outside of you. The whole experience might be informal, which might work for your group. It might not work for your group. So there's pros and cons. But really, what I want you to think about when we think about working with these sites like Facebook or Instagram or whatnot, or YouTube, I want you to think about this in terms of phishing. So if you're looking at the screen, you can see off to the left, you see there is very little control. You can see right at the top, there's not a lot of control. But they have a lot of audience. But over on the right-hand side, you can see I have a lot of control, but I don't have the audience Facebook has. And this is what we need to engage places like Facebook and YouTube, and even platforms and marketplaces like Udemy. You engage them for the audience, not for control. And so the idea is you want to fish where the fish are, but you want to have the fish at home. Fish where the fish are, but I want to have the fish at home, and I want to be there at home dealing with that and making sure, that everything is working and all of that good stuff. But what are you really fishing for? What's the real purpose? And what is it that we're really, quote unquote, owning? Everybody says that you're fishing for email addresses. So you'll see online a lot of people talk about email lists. But it's not an email list. What you're really fishing for is a relationship with your customer, aka connection. You want that connection. That's the most important thing that you're looking for and you're looking to build. Now, we have that relationship via emails, aka your email list. Soon, messenger bots and Facebook, that's looking to be very promising. But right now, the value is in your list. If you use it to build a relationship and add value to people's life, not just gather emails. I have over 100,000 emails, but that's not how many people are actively involved with me and checking emails once within a 3-month period, right? Those are the things that we start to think about and we start to track. Because those are the people I have a relationship with. Those are the people that I have a connection and I'm adding value to their life, okay? That's what we want. True ownership, though, is going to come when you move to being branded. And you use things like Facebook to brand you. You can see, I've got about 183,000 people liking my Facebook site as of today. We've got 30,000 on YouTube. I forget how many on Instagram. But the process now, and the thing that I have done that has really served me well from the beginning, is I have always branded myself and my message, because it comes from my core. I do this because of something that's important to me and important to what I want to do and give to the world. I want to share something, right? And that's what's really important for you. Share it, right? But when we think about, or when we work with this, the platforms, all of this, the primary goal that we have is we want to be branded. We want to be able to brand things ourselves. So that means that the URL is not going to be facebook.com Ryan Kingsline, but ryankingsline.com. Okay? yourname.com or yourproduct.com, whatever it is that you decide ultimately you want to brand. So the first question that I ask platforms is this. I ask, can I have a custom domain name? Is that possible? That's the primary thing. Then I ask, how much of these tasks does the platform do? Does it do landing pages, opt-ins, email deliveries, sales pages, all of that good stuff? But there's a trend going on. Creating online courses used to be just crazy. I created it with Joomla, with this e-commerce plugin by a guy in the UK, and I had to stay up until midnight just to get support questions resolved. And that was tough. Right? Thankfully, I had a little kid, and so I was up at that time anyways. But it was a struggle for about a year until I think we moved over to Magento, and then we kind of, all of that has changed today. Today, and this is as of a couple of years ago, today platforms are moving to an all-in-one system. They're doing the customer satisfaction and product delivery, they're doing the customer transaction, and they're doing the customer attraction, all right? Kajabi, free video hosting. They're doing community via the commenting. There's no transaction fees, although Stripe does, and it's hooked up through Stripes. They have coupons, they have reports. They have landing pages and opt-ins for me to connect, and I have custom domain, and I can remove their branding, and they have email delivery. They have all of these things. Thinkific does as well, right? The only question at this point now between platforms like this is, are the landing pages enough? Does it give me enough power, enough control, or do I have to start to reach outside of this particular program and start to bring in other elements, which we're going to look at? Because the primary thing to understand about this is that it's an ecosystem of problems that are being solved. There's three layers of problems. There's the email opt-ins, there's video delivery, and then there's just the websites. When we're talking about video delivery, there's load times, there's the player, right? Like I have to listen, when I watch players, I don't like players that make me listen to it at 1x speed. I like to listen to it at 2 speed. So that's what we have. I like to listen to it very fast because it goes right into my brain and I get it right in. That's great. Websites. There was a big shift a couple of years ago, a massive amount of redesign, all that, when everything went responsive, which meant a website had to be fit a desktop, then it had to fit a mobile iPhone, then it had to fit an iPad, and it had to change sizes. Responsive. So platforms have to be able to be adaptive to that world of the web page. They have to be adaptive to the video delivery process. They also have to be adaptive and deal with the email and the email delivery issues. Spam. Spam laws are serious. It's not a joke, right? There's a big, huge law passed in Europe, privacy policies, all that good stuff. In Canada, there's a law that if you send spam, you're liable for, I think, $10,000 per infraction, right? Per email. And when you think of the email size of thousands of people getting emails, you can imagine the stress that puts. You have to have a system of making sure that somebody's opted in, making sure that that's tracked, making sure that there's a good relationship between who's tracking that, like I use Infusionsoft, and the email gateways. My email goes out to a series of gateways, and the gateways say you're spam or you're not spam, and then they'll let it through or not let it through. Okay, because I've been using Infusionsoft for so long, I'm in, I get my emails, I get them delivered. But if I was to start over from scratch, it's a process of building this up and building trust. And that's a process your platform has to help you with. It has to actually do for you. So these 3 areas of email opt-ins, video delivery, and website pages, it's a whole bunch of problems for someone to solve. So that's why we start to think and we start to bring in other elements, like for example, Instapages. Easy page builder, great SEO, fast load times. You scale massive sales pages with lots of interaction and videos and YouTube embeds and all kinds of cool ways, sliders and galleries and all kinds of cool formats for you to connect with people. Lead pages, right? Same principle, same kind of deal. ClickFunnels. ClickFunnels is kind of a different deal. They're focused on this other tangent where they're kind of a version of Kajabi, but they don't do the delivery in terms of the final video delivery and the customer satisfaction. They do the attraction and the transaction. Okay, and they're great at what they do. In fact, you can see in their page, you can't learn about their product without engaging them in a funnel, what they call a funnel. That's something you'll learn a lot about in this course. You have to see a demo, start a 14-day trial, and then you get to learn about them. And those who know what funnels are, you look at this page and you instantly get a sense of it. It's a very, very, very powerful system, all right? But remember the goal. Out of all of this stuff that you have to do, the customer attraction, the customer transaction, the customer satisfaction. we have a friend outside. Oh, you can leave it. Out of all this stuff, what's the goal? Okay? Start simple and build from there. You need something that sends emails, you need something to host videos, you need something to take payments. Hopefully one thing to do it all, but the primary thing you need those 3 things. Send emails, host my videos, and create a community for my people, and then take payments and deal with coupon codes and allow me to kind of do some cool discounts. That's it. Those are the 3 things that you need to do. Now, I don't know exactly why you're here. Could be sick of trading dollars for hours. You could need to start generating money immediately like me. You could have been doing this for a while and you just need to be better, you need more, you're not happy with your results. Could be checking this out for a friend, or you could just feel like this is something that's inside you. There's some moment here inside you. I don't know exactly what that is. But the real question I want you to answer and I want you to think about is, are you committed to adding value to your market? That's the one thing that I have done religiously every single week since I started. I don't think a week has gone by that I haven't offered something or had something available to help people. Because that's how we connect. Because remember, the key thing here is we're not interested in email addresses. We're interested in relationships, connection, making a difference, helping people, adding value to their life. And so you have to do that every single day. Now, if you wanted to just create a business and slap some name on it and send it off to some marketer, that's a different deal. But if you're watching this, chances are you're like me. You're an individual that wants to share and connect. You're somebody who's interested in the influencer track, in the lifestyle business track, not in creating some big scalable $100 million business that you can then sell, but I want to generate revenue from what I know, doing what I love, and helping the people that are part of my tribe. If that's your goal, the primary thing you got to think about, how do I add value to people's lives? How do I make their life better? All right? Because if you do that, you win. And that's the one takeaway I want you to get out of this. If you add value to people's lives, you win. Now, this isn't theory. This isn't, just me pulling up somebody's class and saying, hey, I'm gonna, I have done this. I have done this for years, I've generated over $6.5 million in revenue and helped tens of thousands of artists. And done my part, a little part, to help this industry, to help my industry, my niche, right? And now that's something that I really want to make sure that I am sharing with you. Because when I sit down and I think about how can I make a difference in somebody's life today, I'm thinking about this story of myself back at day one, where I'm sitting there and I have a choice between working for somebody else and having no control over the crazy, or my crazy, my path. Having the freedom to say, hey, I'm gonna go pick up my kid today. I'm gonna, take the family out on a Thursday and let's go hit the beach. I'm gonna do what I want to do, because that's why I'm building this business, so that I have flexibility. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying you always get your way, but control, flexibility, having something that gives me the freedom to live life on my terms. If I can teach you that, then I could add more value to your life than teaching you some artistic skill. Because one of the things that we need to keep in mind is that I think it's half of the world is now online, and the other half of the world is coming on. So half of the world is online right now. It's like 4 billion people. Your chance to be an influencer is still here. As we're waiting for this other half to get on, and as everybody else is rushing to the marketplace, your chance to be an influencer in your market space is still here, but it is going away. And I want to make sure that you are aware of that one little note, because now is the time for you to do this. Now is the time for you to get ready, build your career, launch your first course, start to build your name as somebody who's out there helping other people and making a difference in other people's lives. That's what it's all about. All right? Now, do me a favor. One thing I want you to do. Leave a comment down below this video. Let me know what is the one thing you want to learn next in this business school series. What's the one thing that will really help you start to figure out how to get out there and start to create your own business? It could be pricing. It could be how you position yourself. It could be, how you write emails and copy and all of that kind of stuff, right? Let me know in the comments down below this video, and thank you so much for tuning in. All right, now I'm going to check in with questions, and we'll go from there. Susan, do we have any questions? Anybody popping stuff up?
Yeah, most people are just saying hello. Camille says, what industry was it that you started in?
Okay. Yeah, so Camille is asking what industry I started in, and I started with ZBrush Workshops. And ZBrush Workshops is all ZBrush and digital sculpting, and then that has segued over into game arts and film arts and concept and all of these other things, as I've brought partners in to help me build out what we're doing.
And then Camille adds, is this headed towards online marketing, how to build a sales funnel direction? Is his question.
Okay, so Camille, a sales funnel is one of the key tools that we use in online marketing. All right, now today what I wanted to do is show you platforms. And platform is just like, that would be who or how, what software I use to make a funnel. A funnel is kind of a concept. And it's a concept that helps us say, okay, we're gonna get people in, and then there's this big funnel, and as we get them in, let's say 1,000 people come in, and then we have these 3 layers, and as we get to the bottom, we've got 100 people that are really, really engaged, and out of those, 20 buy the class, right? That's the idea of a funnel, is you want to funnel down to get to the point of people that are really committed to what you're going to do and who you are. And kind of just let everybody else out, right? Because the key thing here is it's not about selling to everybody. That's a big mistake that people make, right? It's not about selling at the end of the day. What this is about is attracting your people So you want people to come in, and if they're not your people, if they're not connecting, you don't want to keep them around. You want to get them out so you can focus on your people, because it takes time, you know, answering emails, you know, figuring out what they need that's going to help them get to the next level. All of that stuff takes time. It takes energy. It takes your time, your energy. So the sales funnel is one of the concepts, but I would be thinking, do I put that on Kajabi? Do I put it on Thinkific? Do I make one out of Instapages, Lead Pages? Okay, but my suggestion is go for the all-in-ones like Kajabi or Thinkific and start to look to see if they will help you build the pipeline. Yeah. Any other questions?
No, just some suggestions or feedback for next classes.
All right, great. What are some people saying?
We have building audience. For me, would be the next thing I would want to learn.
Okay, so building audiences is something that's exciting for people to learn. Marketing, which is a crazy, I mean, that's just a topic. So what does that mean, right? Marketing, is it partners and promotions? Is it emails? Is it sales copy, right? Or is it marketing copy? Is it emails? Like, what is it, okay?
Another suggestion is pricing.
Pricing, right? You know, and pricing, the key thing to keep in mind is pricing is positioning. So pricing is really about asking yourself, what kind of customer do I want? Do I just want anybody? Do I want to help the people, you know, kind of level up? And you also create basically a ladder, a value ladder of, you know, people that are different levels of commitment in their craft or in your expertise. So, what else?
This one is a question about what, I don't know if you have any insight in this, Facebook's plans for virtual reality. Will there be opportunities for 3D businesses there?
Yeah. So I actually have a virtual reality boot camp. And the question was, what about Facebook's plans for virtual reality, AR, and stuff like that? And I have a virtual reality boot camp. We run that. We're adding our augmented, an AR version and component to that. Nobody knows, you know. Like, is it Blade Runner style? You're walking down the street and now suddenly you get ads popping in through your glasses, you know, who knows? That's all hard to say. But what isn't hard to say about that is that Facebook's already a kind of virtual reality. You know, it's already it's already this kind of system. And you need to learn how to work that system because, especially now, Facebook is taking more and more and more away from business owners and people who are trying to get their message out, and they're making you pay more and more and more. So the longer you wait on this conversation, the more it's going to cost you. You know, in fact, just after this whole scandal and this whole problem, they actually halved or just dramatically reduced traffic. So now, in order for me to get my message out, I have to pay substantially more just to make that happen. And that happened in the last month, I think month or 2 months. So it's always changing. Any other questions? All right, guys, thank you for joining me here. Have fun and leave me a comment below. Let me know what you want to learn in the next business school lesson, and stay tuned. I'm going to try to get that out. If not tomorrow, we'll try to get one on Thursday about the same time. All right? Take care. All right, ciao.